Okay, hello and welcome everyone to Network Programmability stream. This is Dmitry. Today a little bit of change of outfit, no more DevNet hat, instead of we have the CCA cap and still DevNet shirt. Okay, I hope you guys are doing all right on this Sunday morning / evening or whatever time you are having right now. I'm very excited. I really like our Sunday streams. I think it's already my 20th stream, and I'm really trying to keep the schedule. So for today, we are going to start playing with another network programmability technology, which is NETCONF pyang. I'm going to tell you more when we will start, but I'm still not done with Ansible. So if you attended my previous streams, you know that I already had, I think, like 5 or 6 Ansible streams about Ansible, and we are definitely not done there. That said, I right now feel pretty comfortable with Ansible after a couple of weeks of playing with this. We did build a very cool thing last time, and I'm going to show you a demo of it because not so many people were attending till the very end, and my streams are usually quite long, up until 3 hours and sometimes up to 6 hours. So I'm going to show you a demo because I think it's really interesting demo. This is something that you don't see often, and you will just see, and I hope you will get interested in that as well. Before we will jump into the demo, and then we will talk about today's topic, which is NETCONF pyang. There are a couple of announcements to make. First one, on my YouTube channel, where I post all of my recordings, and if you still haven't found it, so if you go below, there should be all links about my blog, my Twitter account, and my YouTube channel. So on my YouTube channel, I post all of my recordings. Now, the announcement is, on my YouTube channel, there will be a new type of content very soon, and those will be those will not be educational videos, but those will be very short demos, like up to, I think, like 10 minutes long, where I will be showing what I built so far during the stream. So I already have two interesting scripts. One of those is our lab system, which I built with Ansible, and another one is doing something on networking devices using Python asynchronous code, which does code execution very fast, like up to 10 seconds on hundreds of devices, if you will. So for those two, there will be definitely the short video showing, okay, this is what we have, and this is what you can take and use, because I also post all of my stuff on GitHub. Sometimes it's a little bit outdated because after the stream I do not always push right away the code that I have written, but I'm trying to fix that problem. So all of the stuff that I'm doing on the stream can be found on my GitHub account, available for free, available for commercial use as well. So if you have some similar task in your company, go ahead, take the code. If you are learning something about network programmability and you would like to follow, please also feel free to take the code and play with it or use it for your projects. Let me see if there are some questions or some comments. Okay, yeah, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to stop me at any, well, not stop me, but just post in the chat and I will get back to you once I notice your message. Also, depending on what you need, if you have some specific ask saying, I would like you to cover this, or you have some specific task or challenge in your company or in your environment, depending on the ask itself, if it's not like 10 hours of work, I may take it and show it on the stream, and then you will take the code and apply to your environment. So I already did that once, I think. I don't recall exactly. Oh, we were collecting MAC address table because person wanted to find some hubs he had in the network. So I was able to build an interesting program that gets a bunch of MAC address tables from different devices and correlates them with CDP neighbors. And yeah, so I did it for him. So if again, if you have any type of task, probably it will be better if you contact me other different means than Twitch stream, so that your message is not lost. So like either email or LinkedIn or Twitter, and I can assess and evaluate if your task is, if I would like to do your task on the stream, but that's an option. Okay, so not to take too much time, let's jump into another announcement. So new type of content on YouTube channel, stay tuned. I don't have ETA, but this is definitely on my radar. As soon as I have like an hour to record it, I will do it. Another one is there will be no streams next Sunday. Unfortunately, I'm going to San Jose on Saturday and I will spend there for a week. Also, if you are somewhere around, feel free to reach out to me and maybe we could meet. I think I will have some time next Sunday. And the last one is this week a colleague of mine showed Cisco NSO, Network Services Orchestrator, and my mind was completely blown. I did not expect that it's actually so interesting. I didn't play with it before. It's a very interesting project. The main thing and the main problem that it solves, well, it solves a couple of problems, and we will definitely discuss that on one of my streams. But the main thing that got me very excited is unlike Ansible, if you do any kind of configuration change using Ansible, it's very hard to maintain a state of your network. So what I mean by that is using Ansible itself and applying the playbooks that do configuration change, it's really hard to be sure what will be the end result of your configuration change. This means that if there is some leftover configuration, it's very hard to delete it. So for example, you had some loopback, then you configured it using Ansible, and then you would like to remove this loopback and configure a new one. Actually, this problem is quite hard to do in Ansible. It's possible, but it's a lot of pain, because what you will need to do, you will need to define in your templates a routine that will look for some variables and do a cleanup procedure that you will have to define manually. So maintaining a state of your network and on configuration of your network devices is an extremely hard task using Ansible. It's not undoable. It's just it's possible to do. It's just you'll have to spend a lot of time defining the proper cleanup procedures to do that. So apparently Cisco NSO solves this problem. So it abstracts the whole configuration of a bunch of different types of devices into an abstract model. So when you apply any kind of configuration change using NSO and their model, first you will do that regardless of your underlying operating system. So you can do it, you can basically do the same change, configuration change per se, and it automatically translates this to the right commands on different operating systems, including third-party vendors. And it can maintain a state of the network for you. So it parses the whole configuration. There is a module that you can download for every operating system that will basically compile your config to the model, and then it's very easy to have this synchronization of what you want to achieve and what is really going on in the network. So I really got super excited about it, and I'm definitely going to check it out and cover on one of my streams. So it may potentially solve a bunch of problems that are out there. Okay, so this is all with announcements. Let me know if you have any questions, and we will definitely discuss them, and I will definitely answer. I will also have it. Oh, another one is I have a Discord channel. The link is below, but it's not very active at this moment. But if you want to have some kind of follow-up between streams, because my streams is only on Sundays or mostly on Sundays, so if you like to chat between streams, feel free to join that. The LAN Tamer, thank you very much for subscription yet again, very much appreciated. Oh, and by the way, guys, if you haven't checked the LAN Tamer channel, he's my fellow streamer, colleague, and friend. So he also is streaming about networking. So make sure you check out his channel if you are interested in different technologies, and he has also interesting vlog right now. I think just yesterday there was a stream about comparison of different network simulation platforms like GNet3 and NIF&G and others, and Vero. So make sure you check out his channel if streaming content is what you like, or you just got curious, right? So we are in the same area streaming about networking, but we are just streaming about different things. So very cool stuff. Okay, so let's start. And first, I told you that I'm going to show you a small demo of the project that of the stuff that I finished writing last time. Oh, hey man, I'm sorry, it will be hard for me to pronounce your nickname. So, 8007007F. Whew. Nice. Okay, all good. Thanks for joining. So, okay. So let me show you the demo, because like when I got it working, I was so happy. I was happy and a little bit proud of myself. And I was showing this demo to all of my colleagues as well. So subhacks. Okay. So here is a GNS3 topology. And what I was trying to build using Ansible is what I call intent-based lab management system. The idea is that you have a bunch of physical gear. In this case, these devices are R1, R2, switch 1, switch 2, R3, switch 3, and R4, switch 4. So these devices on the edge, those are what is called like pod gear. And here in the middle you have, I'm not sure what is going on with my GNS3 here, but here in the middle, you have what is called matrix switch. And the idea here, I'm sorry, I will probably have to relaunch GNet 3 because I'm losing the local server. So let me check this out. And I will also reload my remote server as well. Usually it's not a good idea, but let's try. Let's see. Yes, those are layer 3 switches. So let me bring this up again. Okay, I broke everything just on the stream. That was amazing. Okay, let me first see when my server gets rebooted. Okay, my server got rebooted, and let me bring up my topology back. Yeah. I'm looking right now on what's going on. And it's funny because I showed this demo from like scratch like at least 10 times. Yeah, so some of my settings got reset, so you'll have to bear with me. So in the end, my demo will not be so impressive as it was supposed to be, but that's all right. Okay. So let's try fixing this. Server, enable local server, remote, Sphere Lab. This looks alright to me. Okay, this looks much better. Okay, whew, that worked out for me. Okay, so there is a question. So is spinning GNS3 environments based on templates with Python magic? You will see in just a second. I am going to show you partially the code, just to give you some idea of what I'm doing. So yeah, it's up and running right now. Let me start all of that before. So I have port gear on the boundary. Those are R1, R2, R3, R4, switch 1, switch 2, switch 3, switch 4. Now I also have every port, every first port of every device is connected to what I call management network. So I'm connected to management network, and here I have what is called NetCloud. So I can go through the internet from my devices, and also in this NetCloud, this is where my host, my lab server, it's there, and this is where I have my Ansible controller machine. So it's right there. Now, the idea here is, let me bring up my PyCharm, and you will see in just a second. So if you go to here, this folder user data and lab templates, this is where I have two lab templates. One is called development, and one is called non-SDA POV. Don't ask me why it's called that way. So there I have what is called topology YAML file, and let me show you. So this topology YAML is extremely simple. The only thing you do here, you define connections. You say, I would like to have one device, which is called Brew R1 on port Ethernet 11 to be connected to another device on port 11. Okay. Now, if you look closely on topology here, you will not see this Brew R1 or Brew R2 anywhere, because those are logical host names inside of the lab. Okay, so this is what your lab template looks like. So you may want to deploy 10 copies of the same topologies on your environment if you have enough gear. Or you may say, I would like to have one of this and one of that. So I also have another topology called non-SDA POV. And here you will see this is very similar thing, but I have more connections. So I have a list of connections, and every connection is defining two ends of the link. Here I have lab host name is SJBR1 on port 11 connected to SJ distribution switch 1 port 11 and so on and so forth. So this is my topology. Okay, and also I have here a folder called configs. So this is startup configs for the labs that I'm going to deploy. Okay, so in this case, this is very simple. I just have two devices. You see that there is this host names Brew R1, Brew R2, and so on. Now, this is all good. This is just lab template itself, but it hasn't been deployed yet. It hasn't been mapped to the physical gear that I have. Okay, so this is where another folder comes into play, which is called deployments. So in this deployments folder, I create another YAML file where I say I would like to have one of this topology and one of that topology, or two of these topologies, and so on. So if you look on one of those, you see here I have at the very bottom I have a key called pods, and I say, okay, I will have one pod with number 1000, which will use lab topology non-SDA POV. I will use another pod with number 2000, which will use the lab topology dev. And here at the top, I'm mapping my physical gear, like switch 1, switch 2, R1, R2, 3, 4, to the actual pod. I say, okay, my switch 1 will be in port 1000, and it will be mapped to the lab device name SJDSW1. Okay? So it may be a lot of information to process, but you will see in a second what I'm trying to do here. So basically I have a bunch of physical gear, and I want to deploy different lab topologies on top of this physical gear without recabling, to be able to have control per pod and stuff. Okay, so this, the same stuff can be used on physical hardware, and I already tested it and it works on physical hardware. When I'm doing development, obviously I don't have so much hardware, just in front of me, so I built GNS topology that resembles what I have in hardware. Okay, so let me connect to all of these devices, and you'll start understanding what I'm trying to do and what my playbook does. So to achieve that, besides having a bunch of playbooks, which actually they're not extremely long, and just to clarify, they're not yet committed to GitHub. They will be committed hopefully as soon as possible. I just didn't have enough time to do that. So they're not extremely long, like 60 lines, and then I have one of the roles somewhere here. This one is 20 lines, so 70 lines. No, that's not big. It contains a little bit of some of the logic is quite complex actually. So Again, I'm not going to go through all of the internal details because I built all of that on the stream, so you may go through it later when I post, either go through recording or through the code when I will post it. But it contains a bunch of magic, you know. Now, apparently, this kind of setup, the way I wanted it to be, it's not solvable using standard Ansible tools easily. So I had to create a bunch of custom functionality. So I developed action plugin called deployment setup, and I created an vars plugin called load lab templates. So this is some additional work that I had to do to be able to control this in the way I wanted to. So, and this one is actually, it's not quite complex, it's just a little bit of code. A little bit too much, yeah. So, without further ado, let me show you. Okay, I need command window. I need log everything. No, log only one. Before we will start, you will see these duplex mismatches. It's because of the lab images that I use. I am going to do duplex full on those, and probably no logging console. Yeah, let's do no logging console as well. So let me go through a couple of these devices. Let me show you what is there right now. So if I go to R1 and do show run, the only thing that this box has is management VRF, like IP domain of my lab, username and password for SSH, IP address for SSH, and basically SSH configure on VTY lines. So this is what I have on every single of these devices. So let me show you the switch as well. So I have management VRF, I have IP address on management interface, I have SSH basically. This is the only thing that I have. Okay, perfect. So now I'm ready to rock and roll. And I'm going to do the following. I'm going to send this to a new window so we can see it side by side. Okay. Okay. Okay, so let me go to my folders here where I have the project network programmability lab. I also need to source my virtual environment for Ansible, virtual environment, net DevOps, bin, activate, done. Okay, scripts, Ansible, lab system. And let me do history, grab Ansible tail minus what, 5? Okay. So this is where the magic will begin. The first one, I'm going to run this one. And what this playbook does, it will deploy 2 instances of that 2 non-SDA POV lab. Oh, by the way, to build the connections, so this part I didn't explain. To build the connections, I'm using Q&Q. So basically, when I say I want the port 1 on R1 be connected to some port on switch 2, what is happening is the module that I created allocates a unique VLAN that is configured on this matrix switches in the middle and on these ports, so that I have tunneling. But all of that is abstracted. You will not see anywhere in my playbook like that I statically configure it, you know? So it's all like defined automatically. Okay, so let me deploy this. Why, guys, why are you hating Q&Q? We tested it on real hardware and it works, so okay, so yeah, it's going to take a little bit more time. Okay, we are almost done. So as a result of this playbook, I'm going to create 2 instances of my non-SDA POV lab on this physical gear. What's boot time on decent sized universe? So as we are using 2.5 Ansible, so it's actually not that bad because the connections are persistent with this module, with this interface network CLI. So you connect once at the start of the playbook to every device, and I think they're using threading, so it's not bad. So what you see here is obviously everything is virtual. What we are building on hardware is ISR 4 case, CAT 9 case, CAT 3 case as well. Okay, let me see if that is finished. Oh, okay, the playbook is finished. See, it didn't fail. So now if I go to router 1 here and I press enter, you see that it changed its host name to sjbr1. And if I go to router 3, it's also sjbr1 now. Those are two different devices, but they are representing 2 different pods, but the same device, right? The same device in the lab, if it makes sense. So now, if I go to show up interface brief, you see as part of my startup configs of my initial configs folder, I put those addresses there. So I don't have a topology, but like in front of me of overlay. But eventually this router is connected to switch, which is connected to another switch, and it's connected to another router using VLANs. So let me actually, you know what? Let me actually bring this up. And for when I will be doing demo for YouTube, I will create a Visio topology, but for stream, I think it's fine if I just whiteboard it. So the topology that I have is, let me see if this works. Oh, I have to change preferences for my tablet here. Mapping monitor to. Okay, so I have a router. Let's do router 1. It's actually sjbr1, which is connected to some switch. It's tsw1. It's connected to another switch, tsw2. And again, this is overlay topology. You see, I don't at least here's the matrix switches anywhere, BR2. And there are also connections like this. This one I think is VLAN 10, VLAN 10. This one is VLAN 20. This is VLAN 20, and this is VLAN 10, and this one is trunk. So here I have 10, 0, 10, 1, and there is 10, 0, 10, 2, and here there is 10, 0, 10, I think 101 or something. So if everything is done correctly, I should be able to ping another site, which I can, and I should be able to ping the switch in the middle. Oh, sorry, it's .1, I think. So I can ping switch, and I can ping another switch as well. And I can do the same thing on different VLAN, like this. And you see that all pings are working. Now I'm going to another physical device. And if you will see, I will do the same kind of pings, but this is different port, if that makes sense. And you see that pings are working as well. Okay, so this was the first thing that I did. Now the idea was that first I want to be able to deploy different topologies dynamically without too much of a work, right? So let me grab my history again. So I can now use this one playbook, which says now I would like to have one instance of one lab and another instance of different topology. Okay, so now I'm running this. And while it's running, I am going to show you config on the dev. No, here. So here I just have two routers. So I think it's better to visualize. So different topology, dev topology is router 1 connected to router 2. Like this, and this one has 100, 0, 10, 1, and this one has 100, 0, 0, 10, 2. So I'm going to do the following. 10, so this one should be still the same topology, and this one should be different topology now. After the playbook finishes. Okay, so this one already finished, by the way. Oh, the playbook is done here. This one goes through spanning tree on the switches, so it takes additional time to converge. And you see that after some time in another port you can still do your pings, right? Now if I stop this, you see that this one is still SJBR1, but this one is already Brew R1, if it makes sense, right? So I deploy different topology like dynamically. And the last thing, I think it's pretty cool. Sorry for some like self-promotion and stuff, but yeah, I was amazed when I saw that it was working. So let me show you one additional thing. Here I'm going to say, you know, I am going to do some changes in my pod, right? The student wants to do something in his lab. Yeah, that's welcome to 2018 network automation. So the last thing I'm going to show is that I'm changing the hostname. So imagine you're a student and you're doing some changes in your lab, right? So in this case, I just changing the host name, and then you would like to reset one of the pods, right? You want to reset the pod in the initial state, okay? But only one of those, not the whole thing. So in this case, I have additional variable here called controlled pod number, and I say 1000. Okay. Oops, something happened. Okay. Show me that again, don't be a tease. Okay. If people want to see it again, I'm going to show it again after this test. So most of this stuff is built with Ansible itself, and there is some additional custom functionality written in Python using Ansible modules. So I built like custom modules using Python. So let's see if, okay, this has changed. So I was controlling only pod 1000. So now if I press enter, this one was returned back to initial state, but this one is still changed. So you see that I didn't do any changes on this one, right? I did only changes here. So I reset the whole pod. Now there was a request, show me that again. Okay, so I'm going to show it to you. So right now I have DEX. Probably I wouldn't want to show it on live gear right now. Okay. So do you guys have any questions? Because Hex wanted to see it again, but I don't want to just show it and then, you know, while he's gone. So maybe if you have some questions about this, I can kind of like show you what I did there. Meanwhile, I'm going to prepare for the last test. Thank you very much, Mentor Z. Yeah, I'm impressed that, you know, something like this can be done today, you know. And the whole development didn't take long, and most of the stuff to do this was built live on my streams. So it's not like, you know, I was building it somewhere like for 2 months, and, you know, it's just magically like I brought the code and it's all working. No, like all of that was done on my, maybe not all of that, because obviously I was doing some additional stuff between streams, but not much. So like some cleaning up, some additional like error reporting. That part was what I was doing mostly not on the stream, but most of the stuff, like 90% of what you see right now, was done on the stream. So it didn't take me a lot of time. So I'm amazed that you can do something like this with not so much effort today. Hex, are you back, man, or not yet? Okay. No, Dex, there is another person in the chat who is Hex. Okay, so I will keep this for a little bit, for maybe like a couple of minutes, since Hex really wanted me to show it again. So before I run this. Could be. Okay. So, you know what? I'm going to show it again right now. So right now I have one instance of one lab and another instance of different lab. So I'm going to deploy back two instances of the first lab. So I'm going to launch ping that should be valid in that lab. Okay, first lab is working fine, second one is not, obviously, because different lab is deployed there. So let's run this. So at some point pings here on the first device will stop while I am redeploying the configuration. Let me see. No, it's so good. Okay, so sometime here. Okay, so ping stopped. So this is a moment where I'm redeploying the topology. Let me see on the playbook. Okay, playbook is done. Oh, here it is. This one is working. This one is not. Oh, and here it is. Both of the spots are working now. And you see that it's the same lab. Mentor Z, yes, most of the stuff is on Git. I think I didn't commit the last version yet, but I'm going to do so shortly. Okay, so yeah, this is this thing that we finished building last time. Okay, so I will wait for like some questions for like a minute or so, and then we will switch to what we are supposed to be doing today. Okay, I don't see any questions, so I think we are done with this. Okay, so since I'm new, may I ask your background on any sorts, possibly of degrees? Yes, so when I still was a student, I was working part-time as a software developer. I was doing some Python. So yeah, I was working as Python developer for some time. Then what I always was passionate more about networking. So I got into Cisco after my university, and this is where I am right now. So I have, in terms of certs, I have CCIERS, CCNA security, and that's pretty much it. Now I also, in terms of degrees, I have bachelor, but I'm working right now on Master of Science from Georgia Tech. They offer an online program. So yeah, basically I'm network engineer with some software development background. So for me, it was easier to start with network automation. Thank you. Okay, so let me stop this one and let me switch back to the topology that we were using before starting this lab system thing. So it will take a while because it contains a bunch of virtual machines. Okay. And as I told on previous streams, this topology is not yet fully built, and it's we really need to change something here, but I still haven't got time to rebuild it the way I want to. So for now we'll keep it like this. For today's stream it doesn't really matter. We are going to cover NetConf, so let me start all of the devices. Probably it wasn't the brightest idea to start all of my devices at the same time, but let's see. So this will definitely take a while. So let me go through some of the chat messages here. Let me see. While all of that is booting. Okay, let me see what is going on here on the devices. Okay, those CSRs are still booting. So NetConf pyang. So the idea behind NetConf pyang is, up until recently we didn't have a structured way to get the data from the networking devices. So the only thing we really had was SNMP mostly. And SNMP is not so great for a number of reasons, but you know, I don't think I want to cover SNMP today. The idea behind NETCONF YANG is we represent all configuration data and operational data in what is called YANG model. And this is a very structured way to represent the data, and you'll see in just a moment what I mean by that. So with YANG you can say, well, there is this tree. Again, we'll see examples a little bit later, but we have this tree where you kind of like go through this tree, where you go through the key value pairs. You say, well, I would like to get info about interfaces, and then interface this, and then IP address, and then you go through this tree to get to the specific point. And you can represent this every step, every what is called leaf in YANG as a specific type. You can say, well, this particular variable can be only IP address. An IP address is a string containing 3 dots, and every value should be from 0 to 255. This is a valid IP address. So whenever you try to submit something that is not that does not pass this check, it will be denied. So there is this very structured way to get to the particular configuration or operational data. So it means using YANG you can represent either config itself, or you can represent some kind of operational statistics like counters and stuff like that. This gives you a way, this structure gives you a way to access this data programmatically without relying on CLI. So without NETCONF YANG and without any kind of API, you would need to get your data using CLI, and then parse data using like regular expressions or something. Regular expressions are bad. So besides those are unreadable. Whenever the output changes slightly, right? So you know, in the next software release there is some new space, for example, or instead of comma there is space, right? Or whatever, right? Maybe there is instead of semicolon or column there is now hyphen. You know, your regular expression will fail potentially. What we want to have very structured way to access this particular data programmatically. So using tree, using formats like JSON, XML, YAML, for example, we want to get the specific data. We want to be able to extract the data and configure data in very similar way. So this is where YANG and NETCON comes into play. So let me see if there are any questions. And my CSR is up, by the way. Let me see if all is good. Show version. Yeah. So here in my topology, I'm running there is ISV. There was ASA at some point, but not anymore. And there are a bunch of CSRs. There are a bunch of CSRs which are running 16.7.1 code. So in ISXC we started supporting the NETCONF YANG since 16.3. YANG models changed significantly in 16.4, but they are now pretty much since 16.4 they are quite stable, and there are only like additions. There are no big changes, something that breaks, you know. There is just some additions, some bug fixes, and so on. So we are going to play with this today. Usually when I start teaching NETCONF YANG, you would probably want to start with seeing the YANG itself, what that really is and its format. So let me go to the repo. I think it's called YANG, yeah. What did I do here? Okay, git reset hard status. No, I will probably have to contract files. No, I think it should be okay if I just do git pull. So if I go to GitHub page, github.com, let's open my page, and let's open the YANG page as well. No, not this guy. GitHub YANG. Okay, YANG models YANG. This one. Okay, so this is a repo where all of the vendors are supposed to put their YANG models, the latest YANG models there. So today we are going to explore the ISXC models. So if I go to this repo and then vendor Cisco XC, let's go to 16.7.1, and there are a bunch of models. So you see the like models themselves are just like text files in specific format. So I'm going to and let me double check that I will not show some. Just give me a second, I will switch to my secret screen. To make sure that the files that I'm showing is exactly what I want to show and not some my other private files. Okay, I think we are good. Okay. So let's see. The very common example that you will see on the internet is IETF interfaces model, IETF interfaces YANG model. So if you go here, all of this is basically YANG model itself. It may be a little bit confusing, but there are tools to analyze them, so it's not big of a deal. So there is module. This is what we'll have to reference. We'll need to reference namespace as well. So this is kind of like, I think namespace is not really useful, but it's obligatory part of NETCONF, which we'll see later. So this is some kind of like identifier of the module. Then you can define your own types if you want to, or reference existing types. We do not care about that, though we care about what is called container. And here we see container interfaces, which contains a list of interfaces with a key name. So basically your model say, well, I have this tree in the root of which I have interfaces, and it contains a list of interfaces. And if you want to get very specific interface, you need to provide this key, which will be a name of the interface. And then you have what is called leaves under the inside of the container. In this case, one of the leaves is name as well, and you see that it's just a string. Another leaf is description, it's just a string as well. Another one is type, and you see that this one is not string, but it's referencing another type called identity ref, and it's mandatory, by the way. And there is also enabled, which is boolean, okay, true false. There is also another container called state, interfaces state, which contains also a list of interfaces and some things like admin status, for example, and so on. So usually people do not read through the Yang model itself because those files can be pretty big and it's hard to analyze them, but there are tools, and the tools that I like to use is called pyang. Pyang, and then you say -f and you specify the format in which you want to show it. I like to see in the tree format, and you say itf interfaces.yang, and it will show you, oops, it would show you, but not today. I think, let me see, I don't have my pyang installed. Okay, I upgraded pip to version 10 and I broke everything apparently. So by the way, yesterday pip was upgraded to version 10 from 9.04 or 03, and I think this is when I broke everything. Do not upgrade when you don't have to. This should be my mantra, but I still haven't learned this. Let me see if I just reinstall and if it helps. I wouldn't be so optimistic. Perfect. It will say, oh, you have something that is not compatible. Pyang. Module pip has no attribute locations. Yeah, so this is what happens when you upgrade. So probably let's Google this if it will help. Let me see, I also have one of my virtual environments. Let me see if that will help. Whoops, pin activate. Pip v 903. Okay, so I hope this one will be a little bit less painful. Interesting. Let me see which pyang it will go to. ls la pyang local bin pyang. This is not a great news. I think though I have one of my machines where I still didn't upgrade to pip. Let me see if that works. Yank, pyang. Yeah, this one still works. So on another machine I have pyang, which I didn't upgrade, so I have some hope that I can use that. See what is going on here. Which pyang? I still have that file. Let's do this pip uninstall pyang here, and let's see if that file will get deleted. Which pyang? Okay, pyang is not found. Okay, so let's try this again. Let's do pip install pyang. Which pyang? Okay, pyang f3. No, this one is completely broken. So module pip has no attribute locations. Okay, so I will have to fall back to my another machine. Or maybe I do not know. Maybe I actually should do some troubleshooting. Let's see. I don't see here any updates with pip 10. Let me. Karmic Geezer, thank you very much for following. I don't see here any like dates from this week or something. Let's do last week. Okay, this one looks a little bit better. Trying to build Python and API for open source. To verify whether it's a pip installation problem, try using earlier version of pip. Or okay, perfect. So pyang will not work on version 10 of pip. Bravo. Okay. Let's try installing old version of pips and let's see. Ooh, INTF interfaces, yang. Oh, right, I didn't install it back. See, now it works. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and open a git issue for pyang. Pyang, GitHub. let's do the right thing. Yeah, I think this is the one. Let's see what this commit does. Maybe, no, there is only one branch. Let's look on all commits. Maybe there were some commits for pip 10. No, I don't see any. Okay, so let's go on issues. Pyang crashes about 3. All of those are old. Okay, let's open one. Pyang crashes with pip 10.0.0.0. Okay, so we will be good citizens today. Okay, so Pyang crashes with pip version 10.0.0 on OS 10. Sorry, it's called Mac OS now. Mac OS with the following traceback. It does not crash on pip 9.0.3. Perfect. Okay. So maybe the guy will yell at me back if I didn't follow some guidelines for opening bugs for this project, but not everyone is submitting anyway. They won't. Okay. Let's also add tested only on Mac OS, having tested on other OS. Hello, Skiffer. Thanks for tuning in. Okay. Okay, so I did something good for community once. So now we can continue doing what we are supposed to be doing. Okay, so Pyang F3 IETF interfaces Yang. So what we need is those containers and all of those leaves, they're displayed in this tree format. So you can say, well, if I want to get or change the name of the interface, I should go via this specific path and change it there, or description. I should go through interfaces and interface and then description. If I want to get statistics for a specific interface, I would go via the same path. I would go by interface state, then interface, specify a name because it's a key, and then I can get, let's say, statistics, and then input errors, output errors, number of input bytes, number of output bytes, and stuff like that. So, and on the right you can see the type of the data. So you can see this is a string. This one is referencing another Yang type, and so on. So this is a typical example that you will find in any blog post about NETCONF Yang, because people like showing IETF interfaces Yang. I personally do not, I think it's okay. It's just you can't do a lot with IETF interfaces. So in general, Yang models are divided into vendor specific and community based, or standard based. So with vendor specific, they usually implement a lot of functionality, but obviously it's not It's not the same between different vendors. On the other hand, you have this standard-based or community-based models, which are like standards, right? If you are talking about ITF models, those are standard-based, but they don't provide a lot of functionality. So, for example, I do not know, you want to configure .1q sub-interface on the router interface, you can do that, right? A lot of stuff is just not present there. So standard-based, I am hesitant to work with them because they do not provide a lot. The interesting ones are OpenConfig ones. So OpenConfig ones, this is what is called community-based. So community-based models is something in between vendor and standard-based. Community-based models are driven obviously by community, and in case of OpenConfig, those are driven by Google. And they have a lot of functionality, and vendors who are supporting OpenConfig and implementing OpenConfig, a lot of functionality is there. Obviously not as much as you can get with vendor specific, but quite a lot. But there is also another coin of that medal is OpenConfig is mostly controlled by Google, so they will add their things that are relevant to them, not necessarily for everyone else, if you know what I mean. So it's maintained by them. So I mean, there is this council, I think, for OpenConfig, but in the end, decision is still after Google to add something or not to add. So I think OpenConfig is a good initiative. We'll see where we will be with this, right? And what is going to be added there and what is not going to be added there. So those are 3 different types of Yang models out there. Today we will focus a little bit on ITF based to just give you some feeling, and then also we'll deep dive into some of vendor based models to show you those as well. So those are models. In general, the code for them is sitting, the models themselves are sitting on the networking device, and there is a procedure where you can extract the models from the device. Alternatively, you can go to this GitHub repo, and where all of the vendors are supposed to be posting their Yang models. There is a question, I think. Do you have much experience with the 5 hardware? Just curious. No, unfortunately, I do not have a lot of experience. So I have experience mostly with Cisco devices and a little bit with Juniper. Yep, that's pretty much all. Okay, so let's continue here. Now, Yang itself, as I told you, it sits directly on the device. So what about how do you reference Yang models? How do you transfer data? How do you communicate with the device where the Yang models is sitting, right? And this is where 2 protocols come into play. One is called NETCONF and another is called RESTConf. There is also gRPC, but I do not know much about gRPC as of today. So we will focus on NETCONF and RESTConf. For today, we are going to do only NETCONF. And NETCONF is a transport protocol which uses SSH underneath, has default port 830, and it's connection-oriented protocol. So you open NETCONF session, and then using the session, you can get or configure what you need using XML. Okay. Eventually, with NETCONF, you can push you can reconfigure your whole device with just one NETCONF operation, which is pretty neat. There are a couple of additional benefits of doing netconf is it supports transactions. So not everywhere transactions are supported, but when I say transactions, I mean network-wide transactions. Device-level transactions are supported already. So, for example, you have any mistake in your config, right? You will it will either do everything or nothing, right? And this is pretty important when you apply any kind of automation, because you know what will be the end result of your operation, what will be the end state. Unlike if you push a config, right, and then in config, for example, you want to configure an access list, so you say IP access list extended blah blah blah, right? And here you say permit IP, and then you made the mistake, you put IPS any, right? Let's do something like this. Maybe let's do this: deny host, deny IP host 1111, host 2222, and then you have permit. You wanted to say permit IP any, right? And then you put permit IPs any, and you apply this, right? So this will be partially applied. You will result in a state where you have access list with this entry, and then there will be deny IP any, because this one is invalid entry, right? So this is pretty dangerous thing to do, right? If you push the same kind of stuff with netconf, it will tell you, oh, we have a mistake here, so it's not valid in the first place, so it will not apply anything. So you can reason about the resulting state. So this is like device level transaction, so it will check if this configuration that you're pushing is valid or not. You also may have network-wide transactions where you push your config, it is checked, and device replies back to you, and then you basically commit this operation, commit this config later on your whole network. So you can do that as well. As of right now, this is not supported by SXC, it's supported by XR. But as far as I know, and I might be wrong here, so it should be coming to SXC as well. So this is one thing. Another thing with netconf is it's not so hard to build your netconf, what is called RPC operation, remote procedure call operation, which will be doing your config change consistently. So you may say, well, I want to basically I want to replace all existing VLANs with this list of VLANs. Okay, so you can do that using netconf very easily. With CLI, you really can't do that. Okay, so for example, if you have CLI VLAN 50, VLAN 60, and so on, right? And then you are pushing, you want the end result to be VLANs 60 and 70, right? So in your Ansible playbook or whatever, you would be pushing VLAN 60, 70, right? But then this VLAN 50 is still there, right? So what will happen is config merge. With netconf, you can specify these VLANs in such a way that it will say, okay, these are the only VLANs that I want to have. So it's much more easier to have the state, control the state of your network configuration that you can't really do with CLI. So, okay. So let me do very basic netconf operation. Yeah, we are going to cover this during this stream. So first, let's establish connection using netconf. So I don't remember the IP address here. This one, okay, 11, and I also don't remember the username. I think it was admin. Okay, admin, yeah. Oh, and I think I don't have netconf configured, so this will not work. So I need to enable the netconf yang. And then there was some command that I don't recall. Let me actually find it somewhere in my notes. There was like show platform yang management something something. Oh, I found it in my notes. Show platform software yang management process. And I think all of those should be working before I can do operation. Okay, netconf SSHD still not working. Okay, all of those are working. So now I should be able to SSH to this device. I need to specify subsystem netconf with -s, and with -p I need to specify the port, which is 830. And this didn't work out so well. Let me see if I can ping the device. Oh, I know what that is. I'm not doing it from the proper machine. I have to go to my lab machine. Here's a Sapphire. So let me do ping. Okay, ping is working fine. Yes. Admin. This didn't work out so well. Okay. It's I suspect netconf is still not active though. I'm pretty sure I'm doing it right. Let me see. SSH -s admin at 192.168.122.11 p830 netconf. Oh, congratulations, Mentorzi, for getting your gas back. Okay, this didn't work out so well as I expected. Let me see. Oh, you know what I'm also going to do? I'm going to increase the number of lines as well, because netconf yang consumes a bunch of VTY lines as well. So let's do actually in 1898. And I may also need to enable HTTPS server. Shall run HTTP. No, it's enabled. I only dedicated one CPU. I don't recall if it's supposed to work with one vCPU or not. This is not good. Let me see if I can SSH to it normally. Oh, and I can't SSH. Okay. So then there is something else. So let's do show IP SSH. Let's regenerate the key just to be safe. Distractor, thank you for following. Interesting. I can't SSH even. Oh. Again, I'm doing it on the wrong device. Damn it. Okay, SSH is working. Let's try this again. So -s admin -p830 netconf admin. Okay, perfect. Now it's working. So when you connect to this port 830 for subsystem netconf, you will see what is called capability exchange, and basically the device is telling you what YANK models it supports, and the client is supposed to reply with hello message, and I have it somewhere in my notes. It should be something like this. This is what you're supposed to reply, and every netconf message is ending with this interesting symbol, hello, blah blah blah. I hope it's working. It didn't work for me a couple of times on CLI. Oh yeah, okay, it's working fine here. So you send hello, device will not reply to you anything, but this is what you are supposed to send when you are establishing connection back, to let the device know that, okay, you are a netconf client. Now, the very basic operation that you can do using netconf is get config, and it looks like this. And let me see if I can change this to XML. So let's actually discuss how the netconf message looks like. So it's an XML inside of which you have RPC tag. Inside of it you say what netconf operation you would like to perform. In this case we are going to do get config. There are get config, edit config, and some others. I'm saying that I want to do get config on the running config. So if I did everything correctly, if I copy paste it here, I should be able to get, and I'm getting it back. The whole config in structured XML way. So if I paste it here, it will be not so good because it's just like one line. I have to oh, what I'm doing. Let me do this. XML formatter. Just unable to parse. Let's try removing this part. Okay, this worked out well. So copy to clipboard, boom. So what I'm getting is a whole config in netconf in XML that is representing the YANK model, native YANK model, by the way. So you see it will reply with data tag. Inside of it you will have native. This is container. This is what is called namespace. I already pointed out namespace a little bit sometime before, so let me do this. Pyang f3 native. No, it is called Cisco ISXE native. Yeah, native.yang. It's very big. Oh, alright, it should be 3. It's extremely big. A lot of stuff. Hold on, let me try to find this. Okay, so this is the top of this model. You see, starts with container called native. Okay. By the way, let me do additional things. So if I do cat on Cisco ISXE native yang, grab grab namespace, you will get the namespace of that module, and this is this. Now if you look closely on what you get, this one coincides, right? This is the same thing. This is very important because when you are going to generate your own like edit config or get config for some specific path, you have to specify this namespace. So in order to get it, you need to go to the module and grab this namespace. So this is and let me go back here. You see this tree now, and well, this part of the config is not present, but here is the version, right? And you see the version here in the structure. Then I have, for example, I don't have any boot statement, so this part is skipped. Let's say at some point I am supposed to have the services, timestamps, debug, blah blah blah. So let's try to find it. Domain, no. Yeah. Oh, okay. Service. And then inside of service you have debug. Oh, timestamps, debug, date time, and then date time has elif millisecond. So you see, using this one, it's very easy to build. Not very easy, but it's doable to build something like this. Okay. Platform console serial here, hostname, and so on. Okay. So let me do the following. Let me try to change the hostname of this device on the fly. And this will be native and then hostname. So I'm going to take this one, and now I'm saying that I want to edit config. Oops. And let me see if I have some edit config example in my... Oh, I have one. Okay, so edit config requires target instead of source. Target. Running config. Let me do this. Edit config. Let's do. I actually will put two spaces. Okay. So. Okay. So, oops. what am I doing? Okay. So target running target. Okay. Now also I have to specify the configs that I'm going to do, like this. And here is the part that I can almost copy paste. So I can take this native and I can close it here. And let's say I want to change a host name. And now it's changed. In fact, I can change a couple of things. Let me also, you know what? I will create another VRF because I can. Let me finish and I will quickly go through the questions. Okay, should be like this. Yeah, that's all right. So let's do, and I want to create, let's do stream, right? And I will do IPv4 and IPv6 VRF. To address families. Okay, so if I did everything correctly, let me see if I still have that session. I still have that session, so I'm supposed to paste it into here, click enter, and the device should reply to me with RPC reply OK. So this means that this operation was correct. Now you see that my hostname has changed here, and I should be able to see the VRF, the new VRF, which is right here. So you see that this config is very structured. Let me go through the questions, that if there are some. Sorry, there was quite a lot of questions and I didn't pay a lot of attention. Is the current GNS3 topology file available to replicate topology? No, I don't think I included it. Yeah, I don't think I included it. I'm trying to think the reason why I may want, or maybe I shouldn't. I think I should be able to do it, to post it. It doesn't contain a lot of confidential data. Well, a lot. It doesn't contain any, besides like image names. So sometimes like image names can be something that I wouldn't like to share. But generally speaking, yeah, I think I should be able to post it. That said, for examples that we are doing today, it's not really relevant, because what I will be playing with one or two devices, one of two CSRs, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, now that I'm thinking, yeah, probably I don't want to include the topology. Maybe I could include the screenshot of topology. It's not very hard to build this. Because in the end, everyone has different images. So for example, here I'm using CSRs of version 16.7.1. Doesn't mean that everyone else has the same CSR in their GNS3, you know? Okay, let me go through other questions. I couldn't find it there. Okay, just think before. XML replies are such a mess, though. Fully agree, because I mean, here's the thing. The main reason why would you want to use NetConf or RESTconf in the first place is to build some kind of application that uses this. It's not really designed for humans, it's designed for machine-to-machine interaction. That said, for learning purposes, you would need to understand what is going on behind the scenes, right? That's why you would want to do something like with your own hands to like get a feeling about it. When you are going to really use it in production, you would use some like Python code, which will use a library like ncclient to do a lot of heavy lifting for you. So yeah, so I mean, you're not supposed to really to do what I did here, open SSH session and paste the raw XML there in order to be able to operate with, to like reconfigure the device. It just doesn't make sense. It only makes sense for learning purposes. Oh, thank you very much, guys, for comments, for kind comments. Yeah, this is like the main reason why I'm doing that is, you know, to kind of like give you this understanding of what is going on behind the scenes. Okay, so this worked out fine. Now, also with NetConf, remember I told you you can have, you may specify, like, it's easier to specify the end state that you want to get. Now, I don't recall on top of my memory how to do this on top of my head. So I'm going to refer to RFC here. So NetConf RFC. This one. So I'm looking for a replace. This one, replace. The operation attribute has one of the following values, replace. Okay. So I need to use 8 attributes. No, not here. I don't recall how I include operation. I think it's I'm glad that you liked it, guys. I'm looking for example using this replace stuff. Oh, by the way, in NetConf, what you can do, you can also do lock operations. So you can go ahead and say, I would like to lock the config so that no one else can change the configuration besides the application, and then unlock it after you finished. I haven't used it, I didn't have a use case for it, but it's something that you can do. You know what, I'm going to continue with looking for replace, and let me see if I will be able to find one example. Attribute operation. You know what? This RFC doesn't list an example, but let me try to do it from my memory. Let's do this. I now change the host name, and for hostname it's okay to merge it, right? Because you can have only one hostname. For VRF though, you may want to have a specific set of VRFs. So I definitely need my my management VRF. So I don't need the stream VRF, but I definitely need my management VRF, because otherwise I will break everything. So I want to have this VRF management. Now I don't recall where I should put operation. I think, let me think this for a second. So I think it should go either here or here. I think here, but I don't recall. Replace. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Skiffer. Oh, this one said okay. So now let's go to device and say show. Oh, by the way, see, hostname has changed. Now let's do. No, this didn't work out so well. I thought it was going to replace this, but it didn't. In which level I put it? Let me try putting it here. Where is this? This here. Okay, this one said okay as well. This one didn't change anything. Let me revert back to RFC. What does it say? Operation. You say operation is equal to replace. Oh, yeah, right here. XC operation replace. Maybe I misunderstood it. Let me try going back. What are options there? So operation can be, the default one is merge. Configuration data identified by element containing this attribute is merged with the configuration as a corresponding level in the configuration data store. This is default behavior. The configuration data identified by the element, identified by target, like copy config, create, delete. It should be inside the object tag. Tell me more. I'm not sure I understand. Delete, remove configuration data identified by the element containing that attribute is deleted from the configuration if the configuration data currently exists. What did I do wrong? Let me just try C. That said, I don't really like messing with VRF because if I break something, I will lose access because it's management VRF. This will not work out so well. Oh, I see what you're saying. Could be. Yeah, this part I haven't really read RFC fully to get to this point. Okay, let's try. Let's try again. Oh no. XC is a non-prefix. Let's try without XC. Oh yeah, XC will not work because I don't have a namespace for XC. Sorry, yeah, XC. Okay, so let's try. Let's try this again. Session got dropped, so I will need to send my hello again. Okay. Now let's try this. Oh. I actually don't need this one. Okay, it says okay. Now something has changed here. So show run. Perfect. Thank you very much, Skiffer. This is great. So yeah, now try to translate this to what you're doing with Ansible, for example, right? So let's try doing like some kind of like pseudocode, right? Let's do, if you have ever did any playbook, let me do this. You will have something like, what? You will have name of the playbook, you'll have tasks, which will be a list of some other stuff. You would put here like name of the task, configuring vref, right? And then you would say the module name will be isconfig, for example, and it will be using the like config lines or template. I don't recall exactly, maybe lines. Doesn't really matter, right? And then you would put what? You would put your vref definition, right? The vref definition management, and then address family IPv4, or I usually do it using templates because I have big configuration, right? So I usually put src, and I would put like what? IS6, let's say what? Let's say config templates config j2, right? And then your templates config j2 file would be Jinja? No, it doesn't support Jinja. Okay, so your config template would be like, I don't know, for vref in vref list, or in vrefs, for example, and for something like this, vref definition, then vref.name for something like this, right? And then address family IPv4, something like this, right? This would be a config template. Now think about this, right? How do you make, so let's say, and you have your variables like something like what? Something like vrefs no, it will be like this actually. vrefs, it will be a list of vrefs, right? It will be a list of vrefs, let's say management stream, probably like this, name will be this, something like this, right? Now this would be your variables in Ansible, so that this part can work. Think about this. Now you want to delete some vref, right? Like this, you delete this vref. Okay, I actually can comment it in YAML, so like this, I can comment this, right? You want to have only management vref. Now your config here didn't take this into account, so in fact there is no good way to do this. There is some way, especially with vref. If you're changing it directly on the running config, not on the database that NetConf uses, it will affect your state of the device the second you type it, right? So you need to be extremely careful. You can't do this. You can't do no vref management, no vref stream, because everything will break, right? So the only good way to do it using Ansible is to have something like purge true, like this, and then also you would say for vref in vrefs, you would say if vref purge is defined, you would say and if, right? And here you would say no VRF definition, VRF name, something like this. You would even say, yeah, like else if, or else, I don't recall, else, right? You would do something like this. Good luck doing that for all of your different configuration levels. And I also didn't see anybody doing that. So it's doable, it's just painful. Now, instead, you can say, where is our example? You can say here, operation replace, and you will basically imply this using netconf. This is why configuration push using netconf is so powerful. It's so easy to have this end state, to control this end state using stuff like this, right? Default is merge, but you can specify, well, I would like to replace the whole thing. In fact, you know what? I'm thinking right now the stream is for already taking 2 hours 10 minutes. I still have some time, so I'm actually thinking to using netconf with Ansible to show you how powerful it will be with Ansible. So, okay, so this was an example of configuration change. It's important to know that you can add a bunch of configuration here as well. So it will be, the whole config change will be with one netconf operation. And if there is just one mistake, it will tell you, oh, this is not correct, right? So, and it will not apply anything. Unlike if you copy paste some configuration snippet into your console, for example, right? It may like lose some characters because on the console you don't have a reliable connection. And then you will, you know, something got wrong there and you didn't even notice when you were doing config push. Here you can do config change once or as many times as you need, and you will be sure of what will be the result of this operation. So there are a couple of questions. Have you ever used Terraform? No, I haven't. I only heard about it. And the reason how I heard about it is because Virl on Packet, and Packet is bare metal server stuff. They using Terraform automation to deploy Virl instance on bare metal, but I haven't played with it at all. Interesting. I'm not yet sure what kind of things Terraform will solve for me. As I told at the very beginning of the stream, a colleague of mine showed me Cisco NSO, and I got excited about what it can do, and I see a good use case for it, and I'm going to cover it on the stream at some point. Okay, so let's do something else. Let's also configure loopback, right? I'm thinking this may be a little bit painful. Let's see, do I have any loopback? No. Interface, gigabit, VRF. I actually think it will work out just fine. So let's configure interface as well. So interface, gigabit Ethernet, name 1. Okay. So Let's do this. Okay, so this is not part of VRF. This is part of the interface, and I have to be very careful with closing everything. So interface, I have to close the interface. It doesn't really matter on which level I'm closing it, as long as I do. Loopback, I have to close loopback as well. Let's say what, 2018, right? I'm not going to put this in VRF, but I'm going to assign some loopback. I really wanted to put loopback 1111, but we all know that now it's valid DNS, so probably not a good idea. So let's use some reserved space for this, like this, for example. Okay, so see, I'm actually just adding, I can delete this part or I can leave it. I will leave it to show you that it's still fine. Okay, so let's do this. Oh, okay, something happened here. But in element interface. Not sure yet. Not sure yet. No, it is on the same level. Interface name. Interface closing. It may be. No, it all seems good to me. Oh, okay. I think operation merge is by default. Yeah, the configuration data identified, this is default behavior. Merge is default. Okay. Okay, so let's try again. I was missing the closing slash, but my connection got lost, I think. Oh no, it's actually still. Oh. Okay. So now I should have the loopback. Short interface brief, and I have this loopback 2018. Now let me add another loopback. So it should be here on the same level. Ooh, this may be tricky. Name. How do they separate the names? Oh, you have to. Got it. You need to do. Copy this part again. And let's say this will be. We will be living in the future. Maybe also one description, but I don't recall how. I don't recall the structure. That said, there is pyang help. There was another format which displays an HTML page, which is a little bit easier to go through. Which one? JS3. Let me do this. Yank. Let's let's do test HTML. Thank you for joining, Mentor Z. See you next time. Okay, so I want to open this file here. So it will be file like this, test HTML. Okay, yeah, this is a little bit easier. There are some other tools to explore Yang, but for now it's fine with me. So I need interface. It's very big, so it will be slow. I need to find like this, maybe gigabit Ethernet. Yeah, my browser does not like this. It's very slow. For smaller models I was using it, it was fine, but this one is very big, so. Oh, okay, so now it seems to be working, native. Let's do interface. Okay, interface, and I'm looking for loopback, name description string. Okay, so I can say like this, description, and hello from the future. So let's reapply this config. Boom. It says okay. So now I should have two loopbacks. So let's do show interface brief. I have two loopbacks, show run interface loopback 2018. I have loopback this one. I have loopback this one with my description. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Actually thinking this may be iOS. I think this is actually applied by iOS because this one is comment in iOS, so it's it has escape. Okay, so now imagine I want to remove all of the loopbacks. I can use either delete or remove. In this case, I am going to do this. I'm going to remove all loopbacks. So this will be operation is equal to delete will fail if there are no elements like this. Remove will not fail if there are no elements. So I prefer remove. So it never fails if there is no element. So I think this should be like this. Okay. Loopback operation remove. I think so. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I should move it actually on as the next level. I still didn't learn this yet. So let's see what this guy says. Expected tag name. Oh yeah, I think I will actually need it to do here. And then I can use open and closing tag. Let's try doing that. No, it says expected tag name loopback. I don't know. Maybe like this. Invalid value. Of course. Interesting. I have no clue how to do this. Maybe delete. Now I will be just trying everything. That's not a valid value. Okay. Like this. Expected name. Interesting. I was using that, but it didn't work out. Let's try. It says it can't be empty, it should be something. Let me think this through. I think I will need to use. Okay. I need to specify. Okay, I think I need to move this up. In here I can't use the loopback, but I need to use XPath filter inside of it. And I haven't done this for quite a while, so let's see. NETCONF XPath. Let's see. Config type XPath. Oh yeah, here selector. This is what I would need. Now let's try this. I haven't done it ever, so it may not work. So type XPath, and now I need selector. What is this? Now maybe there is cell somewhere. Select optional attribute containing a string representing XPath expression. The type attribute must be equal to XPath if this attribute is present. Okay, so Some examples, please. Let's do the cell equal to select equal to. Oh, here. Select T top. Let's try to understand how this is working. So it's going from the very top. Okay, let's try. Okay, so let's do this. Here I need to add iOS. Interface type XPath, and I need select, and I need to select properly from the very top. So this one will be iOS native interface loopback. I don't know. Let's see. Bat element native. Yeah, but no. The point here is that, I really want to be able to understand NetConf to that point where I can use all of that. I think something wrong here. But here is a get config. You know what I'm going to do? I am going to some users tname thread. I'm going to try this on my filter for get config. Let's actually try doing that. Let's say here I want to get config. Get config source running source get config. I need to specify here filter, and here this is where the magic is supposed to happen. So xlms iOS is equal to namespace native. Okay, it says type should be XPath, and then select is equal to iOS native, let's say what, vref. Is there, no, there is no closing slash, but there is slash for filter. Okay, so hopefully this works. This worked, by the way. Native XLMS management. Yeah, so this part worked beautifully. Okay, and you're saying check delete operation. Okay, let's check. Here. Configuration data identified by the element containing this attribute is deleted from configuration if only if configuration is currently exists. Configuration data does not exist, you'll see RPC error data missing. No, seems to be pretty straightforward to me. Okay, let's just have remove here. I don't think it will change anything, but let's try reading the error message they give us. It says bad element native. I think this is what it is. Namespace, this prefix. Bad element interface. Okay. We need to put it everywhere. Everywhere. Bad attribute select. Okay, so select here is wrong. iOS interface isn't closed. No, it's closed. It's alright. I have a suspicion that this should go here. Okay, if I'm wrong, I will be in a lot of trouble. No, there is one. Okay, let's try this. What did they say? Bad attribute select. Was it cell? No, I'm doing something clearly wrong. Okay, let me saying there was something. I do not know. I see here the it seems to be fine to me. Am I missing something? I don't see it. I reverted back to what I had. Did config. This is the same line. I'm not sure. Is it like I just can't do it, or I just didn't figure out how to do it? I would need to read the whole RFC, but it's like, what, 200 pages? No, 100 pages. Not so long, but here. I have no clue. Let me see this one. Target running, config type XPath, operation replace. I don't know how to do this. Maybe like this. But I don't have this namespace. Where is this namespace? XLMS R. Okay, I have to specify namespace here. This bad attribute cell. So this cell doesn't exist. Let's config bad attribute, unknown attribute. Bad attribute select. Okay, modifications to existing operations. Get config get. XPath capability modifies get and get config operations to accept value XPath in the type attribute of the filter. Okay, this does not apply to us. We need edit config. Attribute separation, merge, replace, parameters, target, merge. Default operation is optional, test option, error option, config. Capabilities are discussed in section 8. No. Okay, I think I will. Yeah, I have no idea either. How can I remove only all the loopbacks besides getting all loopbacks and then deleting them? That said, I'm at least happy that I figured out how I can replace VRFs. I think that's already pretty cool. So I'm thinking if I should do the same now in using ncclient. And I think I should. Let's create a new folder here. NETCONF RPC. From ncclient import. I need some example. Okay. Okay, let's start. Let's have this main function. Okay, now what else do we need? We need parameters for connecting to the device though. Since we are doing test, I will hardcode everything here. So netconf, let's do connection parameters params host 192.168.122.11 host. Okay. Now port no, username. Username admin, password no, it's admin, and let's do host key verify false. Okay, we also import XML to dict. What is going on here? Oh. Okay, connection parameters. Now this part will be unpacking dictionary as connection let's do connection. This will be current config XML, and I will just print it. Current config XML. Okay, any mistakes here? No, I think I'm good. So I need to deploy this folder to my remote machine. I have to reconnect, check my virtual environment, virtual envs, netdevops, pin activate, pip freeze. I should be able to have NCClient. Okay, I have. Let's upgrade it just in case. NCClient. Oh, no. This version I have is 0.53. Please, I think I upgraded everything else besides NCClient. Yeah, it's still 0.53. Okay, so now if I go to repo, no, it should be in projects now. Projects, network programmability lab, scripts, NETCONF, Python, NETCONF PY. Okay, I have very beautiful XML. We are going to do, let me find an example so I get it right on the first attempt. NETCONF convert XML to dict. No. It should be on my repo though. GitHub.com, tmfigle, devnet 2449, notebooks, devnet. So this is from my Disc Live session last year. I think I had some code there. NCClient, DOM mini DOM. Let's actually copy paste this part. So let's do import mini DOM. I will have this function. Let me see. Okay. Okay, we have this prettify XML. What were I doing with that? Prettify XML. No, where is XML to dict? Here. XML to dict, parse, XML result. Where is this XML result? Oh, okay. So let's see. Let's do current config will be XML to dict, parse current config XML, and then I can do import from pprint, import pprint, and let's also add shebang string here, print and Python, and we'll say pprint current config. Let's redeploy this file and let's run this. Let me try another thing. From JSON, import JSON. Import JSON. JSON dumps current config indent 4. Let's do 2. And let's redeploy. What did I do? Oh, right. I am supposed to print this. Okay. Whew. Now that's much better. Yeah, so let's get what? Let's get the host name, and let's say print current config to with the path data native version. So let's do this version. Let's do software version is equal to current config. Here we can say also data current config native version, and host name will be native host name, and let's do print software version. So this software version is software version, hostname is hostname. Here we go. That's good. Okay, so we have a way to get structured data. I think we will have one last test and then we wrap up our stream for today. Let's do edit config. Now, edit config is tricky because you're supposed to have to build your XML. So that's why it may be a little bit painful. Now let me think. Let's use Ginger. Let's do what? Loopback. Loopbacks J2. For loopback in loopbacks, and for to do this for loopback in loopbacks, we need to have an example like this. Okay, for loopback in loopbacks we need, say, loopback.name, loopback.number, here we need to say if loopback description is defined, and if this part will be loopback description, and if, and then IP address. So we need to say, let's do this, if loopback IPv4 address is defined, we will say like this, and if, so this part could be a little bit tricky. Let's do loopback IPv4 address, and then we will need a filter, and my mask will be the same thing, but I don't recall filters on top of my head. Let me check those. So I have it also in my notes. So we have a Ginger2 filter like this, and we have a Ginger2 filter like this, net mask. Okay, so let's double check the logic. If there is loopback, we have this one. If we have description, there will be this one. For loopback in loopbacks. Okay, I like this. So we need to load the Ginger2 template. I don't recall how to do that. Python load Ginger2 template. No, seems too hard. No. Oh, okay. Actually, no. Let's see if this will work. I am not 100% sure. So let's do this. Import Ginger2 let's try this locally. We need to be able to say Ginger2 template loopbacks j2 print. Let's do this template. Template is equal to this print template. So this is supposed to work, I think. We need to go to specific directory, repositories, network programmability lab scripts, NETCONF source. Let's do this pip list, pip freeze, grab Ginger. Okay, I have Ginger, so maybe this will work. NetConf py. Module Ginger has no attribute template. Okay. Oh, big letter. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, yeah, it's working. So, and I think there was, and let's also have like this. Loopbacks. Let's do this. Config values, config data will be dictionary where we say loopbacks, and we will create a new ones. This should be a list where you say 1000. No, this is bad. Name should be 1000. Let's say 1500. And this one will be description. This one has a description, and this one will not have an IP address. And let's do formatting here a little bit. Here we have this one, which will have IPv4 address, and I will put directly mask here. And let's say this one will be 64.150.1.1/24. So let's hope this will work. And this is supposed to be number. Now I have to, let's do this def configure device. Let's do connection params and config data. Configure device. Connection params here. Connection params. Let's see if chat is very quiet, but that's alright. We are more than 3 hours in the stream. Connection params. Then let's do config data is equal to config template, config data, and then template is equal to loopbacks j2. This will be template name. Template name. Template name. Okay, so I should have saved this somewhere. Let's do this def cat config connection params. Something like this. Okay, first we are extracting the template, then we have to do something here, which will be, and I need to look up edit config example, edit config NETCONF. Target config operation test option error option. Okay, so target, this will be target running and the config will be let's see, Jinja2 docs. Jinja2 docs. This will be, I think, template render config data. Interesting. It's not connecting. Actually, you know what? I have an example with Juniper from one of the Actually, no, it was using different style. Create config templates here. Let's see. Template. Get template. Render format params. Yeah, I think this is correct. So netconf configure device manager. Let's do response XML. Okay, let's try. So this is 2 files, push. So Python netconf py. Arr. What is wrong? Oh. Non-type has no attribute tag. This is unfortunate. Let's look on our template. Well, I definitely see at least a couple of problems here. Obviously, I have to specify the whole structure. But I don't recall from what point though. I think it should start with config. It should be config native interface. Config native interface, then interface. Like this. Native. I hope this is correct way. Let's push this. No. Let me change this a little bit. Let's do config is equal to this part. Config is equal to config. Oh, ouch. And let's see where it's crashing. Print config. What is going on? Oh, I did not upload it. Strange, it just input the name. Oh, damn it. I need to go back. Let's do this. We'll create directory called templates. We'll put this loopback there. And then we'll use this part, templates get template, and then there was also this one. Okay, so templates get template. So be templates get template. Oops. Not here. Templates, no, templates, get template, template name, and now here I can say template don't render. So this should work out fine. Let's see. Okay. No. Okay, so it says no filter named IP added. Interesting. I think I will have to install it. Pip install NetAdder. Okay. Interesting. It says this one is already installed, but it's still failing. Oh, this is Ansible docs. Oops. Let's do Ginger. NetAdder. This is Ansible. Maybe it's only available in Ansible. No. Ansible IP address filter, no. Ginger to filters is also Ansible. Okay, I think in just Ginger template, you can do that, but you can create your own filter if you want to. I am not up to creating a filter today, so let's change our variables a little bit. So this one will be IPv4 address. This will be IPv4 mask, and we will define these parameters here. IPv4 address, and mask will be 255.255.255.0 mask. Okay. Let's upload this and rerun. Oh no. Oh. Okay, so something has happened. Now let's look on the device. Show IP interface brief, and here we have two loopbacks. This one has a description. This one should have just an IP address. Okay, perfect. So using very similar filters like I have here, you would define this kind of filters for Ansible as well, and then you can use NetConf interface to configure your devices. So if your device supports, this is what I advise you to do. It's much better from consistency standpoint to push those via NetConf. Okay, but for today our stream is already going for 3 hours 20 minutes, quite a lot, and I'm kind of tired as well. So thank you very much guys for tuning in today. I hope you learned something new, and I hope that you enjoyed some of it. Come next time in 2 weeks from now, because there will be no stream next week, and we will be doing NetConf with Ansible. Thank you very much, and until next time. Bye everyone.